Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet?
I love people as I meet them one by one. People are just wonderful as individuals. You see the whole...
My great aspiration, my greatest ambition is to be so good. Now, in that way, I'm tiresome, as I suppose, to live with, because I want to be a fantastic human being.
I am the greatest. We're not disputing that, Cash. It's how does Sonny Liston feel about it? He can't feel but one way, and let's take everything I say and like it. Because February the 25th, I'm going to take back my job. I'm the champ. He's no champ. He's a tramp.
When you see men fall, don't laugh. Learn. Learn. Because you're on your way up. And the things that tempt people to fall, you and I are not free from that temptation.
If I'm a one-hit wonder, at least I got one, huh? At least I got something. Really ain't me. The beat bumping, one song could change lives. Let's see something. One joke could save lives. We gon' keep coming, keep functioning. Something out of nothing. Ball-wise, I'm top 300. Get your favorite artist. I'll chop it up with mutton. If they haters, your ghosts can be bludgeon. If they for real, we getting money. Subtract BS minus Negroes, cutting everything authentic. Stupid shit I did it. Punishing myself like my mom prison. No questions, no tea, not lifting. One time for tea, being broke wasn't living. One hit wonder. At least I got.
Yo, what up? Peace and blessings. Glory, praise, and honor to the Most High. Happy Friday. Good to be back. Hope all is well. Appreciate your time. I hope the week has been good to you. My thoughts and prayers go out to you, your family, your loved ones. Shout outs to my poets, my writers, my content creators. Shout outs to all the new followers to the page. Welcome over to Assembly of Excellence. Thank you for your patience, for your time, for your commentary, for your feedback. Everything below and underneath and above the sun. Salutes to you. Salutes to you. I got Sydney in the building. You know what time it is. You see the title. If you don't, take a look up. Maybe it's somewhere at the bottom of the screen. But we got us a doozy here. I don't know where we're going to begin with this. I don't even know how the conversation is going to end, but this has to be addressed. So, give a warm welcome to Sid. Y'all already know the energy. We post, share, like, let the people know that we are on. Yo, what up? What up? You on mute? You on mute?
Hello, I'm just checking out that story of that lady. I'm like, oh my God, people these days, we're just why are we getting so violent? I mean, I can understand why we're getting violent, but overthinking. Oh my goodness. So this will be a very interesting conversation today.
Yeah. Somebody just lost their life, and I keep going back to it always has to be a life or death situation. Like, you really have to be it's either a him or me or her type of situation with kids involved, or one person is drowning, you can only save one, or like what? There's absolutely nothing about this right here that makes sense to me, other than people can't control their anger, amongst a number of things. I do got a clip I'm gonna play for the people who aren't familiar with this. It was shared to me, and I say, yeah, I might have to definitely cover this for sure. So shout out to the young lady who put me on to this particular story. Now, let me put this up on the big screen real quick. It's not a very long one, but it's going to give you everything that you need for the most part. If y'all have any views on it, share it. Would love to hear your perspective. I want to get your initial thoughts. See it after this. I know you already have read a little bit on it, but yeah, let's go ahead and play this video real quick.
And killed outside a Dallas PetSmart after getting upset at a woman for not saying thank you.
Court documents say the victim, Cecilia Simpson, was shot several times after the dispute escalated into a parking lot fight. Peyton Yeager has more on the story tonight.
The family of 41-year-old Cecilia Simpson sent Fox 4 News these photos of the Duncanville mother of two. Friends and old classmates from Duncanville ISD also mourning the loss. According to an arrest warrant affidavit, Simpson was shot and killed after becoming upset because a woman she held the door open for didn't say thank you. The argument started at the store Five Below Tuesday and then spilled over to the PetSmart in the same South Oak Cliff shopping center off Wheatland Road. Investigators say 22-year-old Kiana Hampton followed Simpson and her daughter into the PetSmart. Employees there asked them to leave.
The screaming first caught my attention.
Fox 4 spoke to a 27-year-old ER nurse who walked out of the PetSmart as the two women were arguing in the parking lot.
The lady who was the shooter was still instigating, like, an argument or a fight or something. But the mom and daughter tried to, get in their car and, de-escalate the situation. But the lady wasn't having it.
According to the affidavit, Hampton later confirmed to detectives she engaged in the verbal dispute, entering the PetSmart twice and continuing the argument, throwing the drink bottle at Simpson's car when she was about to leave, and engaging in a physical altercation with her. That's when police say Hampton pulled out a gun and shot Simpson 3 times. Multiple nurses rushed to perform CPR, Simpson's daughter by her mom's side, while also on the phone with 911.
If I could just hug that daughter, I just feel so bad for her, and I just want her to know that I did everything I could. Those other people did everything they could.
The arrest affidavit says
That's really sad, especially hearing the nurse's reaction. I can't even imagine being somebody who's a professional in that type of role and not being able to do anything, not being able to help, especially because most doctors, most nurses enter that field so they can help people. So I can't even imagine how traumatic that would be to try and participate in saving somebody's life and not being able to do anything, especially when you witness the whole situation in action. Because it's one thing to be in the ER and have somebody come in and you didn't see the situation, you just see how they are now, you have all the tools, you have all the staffers, but feeling solely responsible for trying to save that person's life, I can't even imagine how horrific that guilt she's feeling will feel, especially because she was with her daughter, the woman's daughter at the time. I didn't see how old the daughter was, but I'm assuming that they're probably young, given that they were with her. So that just adds to the tragedy that they had to witness that whole situation, and honestly how quickly that whole situation unraveled. It's not like this was, not that it would be any better, but like a whole like, oh, a neighbor harassing people over a long period of time. It's like, it's less, again, not any less of a tragedy, but it's like less surprising if it escalated over a long period of time. But to have something like that simple turn into such a fatal, tragic event so quickly is just, that has to be horrifying to be a part of. My heart goes out to the family. My heart goes out to those women that tried to save her life, and anyone else that had to witness that. There's no excuse for that. And honestly, this is just another example of why, I mean, truthfully, sure, you should have the right to defend yourself, but I don't think people should have the right to just carry weapons like that. Like, there are so many other different weapons that can be used to protect yourself that don't incur death in that manner. Like, you can have pepper spray, you can have a taser, you could even have, I mean, knives aren't any better, because it's actually harder to save somebody who's been the victim of a knife attack because of the manner that knife wounds affect the body. It's harder to stitch those back together because oftentimes it's more jagged and it's harder to put the tissues back together than a gunshot wound. But still, I think it's just another example of why we should revisit the idea of allowing people to conceal and carry, because you're going to have incidences like this.
I'm disappointed in the Black community. You know, our culture is so toxic. It's so ratchet. We can be some of the most intellectually sound people, humans in general, but in the Black community, as much as we fight and argue and troll and play the race card, and we have all of this branding going on social media, with all the racism, with all the pressure, with what happened in Chicago. Like, do I really need a list of injustices? Do I really need to run down a list of protests? Do I need to talk about Black Lives Matter? Do I need to talk about the lynchings and the hangings? Do I really need to go into detail about all of the gang wars and all of the repetitive death that we brought upon ourselves? You get angry because someone did not say thank you. Now, I understand common courtesy. I think most of us have been taught to say please and thank you, but you're not entitled to it. I'm not entitled to it. I don't expect everybody to say thank you to me. I don't expect reciprocity from everybody. I don't expect everybody to respect me or like me. Everybody is just raised different. I'm very disappointed. I'm hurt. I'm hurt because of the daughter. To watch somebody, especially your mom, take their final breaths in your face while you have a 22-year-old with no remorse go out of their way to purposely pursue you to pull out the weapon. You wanted to use it. I have so much I want to say on this. I'm gonna stop right there. But that really pissed me off. Like, it really triggered me. I didn't even know how I was gonna respond to it when I first was introduced to it. But yeah, like, that shit really got under my skin.
And it's especially sad because when I started to investigate this story, there's so many other stories that pop up involving people getting killed in stores. There was a woman that's currently going to trial because she stabbed a 3-year-old in his shopping cart at a Giant Eagle parking lot in, what state was it? Cleveland, Ohio. There was a woman shot at a shopping center in Dallas in October. There was a American Indian store owner killed in October as well. There was an Arkansas grocery store shooting that killed a 23-year-old nurse who had a 10-month-old baby, among 3 other people that were killed. And that was in Arkansas. I don't know if I said that. There was another one recently of a 33-year-old employee killed a 23-year-old woman who got into a dispute in a grocery store in, where's this? I'm not sure where that one is. It doesn't say. Wayne County. I think that's Texas. Another woman was killed when it was in Sacramento. Somebody ran her over. She was taking too long. Another store owner was killed because she had a pride flag. So this is just, it's becoming so common now. Like, we're seeing school shootings, we're seeing church shootings, we're seeing store shootings, we're seeing people's houses getting broken into and them getting shot. It's just, it's so, like, scary. It's horrifying. It's depressing. It's just, I mean, sure, we've probably had violence all throughout history. Like, we all know that people have been getting murdered for forever. As long as there's been humans, murders have happened. But I guess the combination of having all of these news sources available to us, all of the CCTV footage, all of the people with their phones, we're catching so many more of these incidences, not to mention there's a higher population density. And I would not be surprised if the majority of these stories involve mental health cases, drug-induced cases, or just like people that do not have any sort of emotional regulation. And again, this is just these are examples of why we really need to change our conceal and carry laws, because I mean, obviously not all of these were shootings. Some of them were stabbings. One of them was getting hit by a car. But it's just like, how do you keep allowing this to happen? And like, we have all these cameras and we have an awareness of these types of issues. It's just so tragic, and it seems like it's mostly young people or extremely elderly people. It's people that are supportive of other individuals. I've heard people getting shot over pride flags. I've seen people getting shot over support for other organizations that people are not happy about, being shot because they belong to certain communities. It's just like, it's hard to even say anything about it because it's tragic to the point that it really shouldn't be a topic we discuss all the time, but it happens so often that we have to keep talking about it, because if we don't talk about it, it's just going to get swept under the rug. It's not going to be acknowledged. The problems are just going to deepen because we're not going to attack the root of the problem. I think the root of this problem is, as I said, lack of mental health services, lack of like a lot of these areas that this is happening in: Ohio, in Texas, Kentucky, Sacramento. A lot of these areas, I mean, Sacramento not as much, but a lot of these areas are devoid of resources for people, medical resources. I've heard story after story of communities that are losing hospitals, that don't have access to doctors. They have to travel 2 hours just to be able to get care from a normal hospital. And then also there's a link between violence, especially with young people, and a lack of things to do. That's why there's a higher density of drug addicts and violent offenses in more rural areas, because if you don't have much to do there, you're going to seek out other forms of stimulation. If you don't have museums and parks and aquariums and places of like dignified behavior, you're going to seek out other methods of entertainment. And unfortunately, in those areas, most of those forms of entertainment is using weaponry, going out and going shooting. Like, I'm sure we've all seen like the kids that go out with guns and just like shoot at cans on the wall, or again, like getting in fights on the street just for fun. And all of this type of, and obviously doing drugs, and all of this stuff contributes to an increase in violent behavior, because number one, it desensitizes people to violence. It reduces your empathy for people. And obviously with guns, it disconnects you from the act of violence, because it's technically the gun doing the killing as opposed to you. There's a link between a decrease in violence with a decrease in guns, because fewer people are willing to take a life directly by like going up and stabbing a person. It's also, it can be easier for people to ward off a knife attack if they know how to, like, if they've learned self-defense techniques and stuff like that. It's a lot more easy to immobilize somebody who has a knife versus a gun, because obviously guns can be shot from farther distances. You don't have to be close to that person. And of course, if you hit in the right location, it will instantly kill the person. So it's hard to even come up with things to say about this type of violence, because all you want to do is hug the people that had to go through that and express as much sympathy as possible. But this happens so often that it's just a glaring reminder of how terrible people can be, and how much we need these services to improve relationships with the public. Like, you have to, I think one of the things that we're having an issue with is there's so much separation between groups of people now that there isn't very much to come together on. Like, I remember 10 years ago, or not 10 years ago, whenever the Columbine shooting was, the whole country was in an outrage. I didn't see very much, I mean, I was young at the time. I think it was Columbine. I never saw very much pushback where people were like, no, we should still be allowed to have our guns. Like, let's arm our teachers. Like, I never saw very much of that argument. It was just condoning the violence. But now there's so much more of a, like, well, like defending the people that did it. And I don't know, it feels like we're getting, as a culture, desensitized to this violence, and we've become so intolerant of other groups of people that we even go as far as to defend the individuals that are perpetrating this. I really think that our thinking about this type of violence needs to change.
Should have been changed. And Here's my thing. Think about 9/11, Columbine. Think about all the school shootings. George Floyd. All the senseless deaths over the last 20 years in general. You would have a few weeks where everybody is playing kumbaya. Everybody's clip farming and posting on social media on their threads, on their Twitters and their IG. And then people will get up there on the platform wearing their expensive glasses. And they'll talk all educated. And then you look at thousands and hundreds of men and women underneath the comment sections agreeing with the philosophies and how we must make things better and how we must do this and do that. And then for a while, everybody is mourning, everybody is sad, everybody is, oh, when is this going to end? When will madness stop? Once that wave is over with, we're right back to doing the same thing again. The only difference is we got holidays. We got monuments. Every time September comes around, September 11th, every time it comes around, we have people who do dedications. People talk about, oh, it wasn't an airplane, it was something else, it was this, it was that. You have people who speak on Kanika and all of these women that were killed by police officers. We speak on these things like we care about it for a month or two, and then we go right back to living our life afterwards. There's no consistency. Just like you put something on the stove, then you walk away from it. Then you forget that it's on the stove. Nothing really actually changed. I think there's only a small group of people worldwide in every region who is fed up, and they're consistently letting you know they're fed up. And they acclimate to the changes. They check themselves. They check their attitudes. They look at themselves in the mirror. They have conversations with people they need to have conversations with about getting help. They pour out resources. They look for them. They ask about them. They're consistently proactive in more ways than one. Some people write letters. Some people do emails. Some people sit at the table with the folks that seem to matter the most in the communities. Some people are advocates in Boys and Girls Clubs. Some people have conversations with the children. Some people go to therapy. There are people who will literally do what is necessary to ensure that their voices are heard, because what happened at that particular time period really shook the core of their life. It changed them. They can't go backwards after what they saw and experienced. But that's just that small group of people. What about the rest of us, from Twitter, from Facebook, from all walks of life, when we see the ignorance that has always been highlighted to be celebratory, the forefront of what we are supposed to represent? Why aren't these people continuing the race with the rest of the world? The way that little girl You 22, you still a little girl to me. The way that little girl handled that was absolutely horrible, fucking trash. You're 22 years old. You should know better. Somebody should have taught you better. You should know right from wrong. You should know what conflict resolution looks like. You should know how to walk away. You should know already the position that you are in, the responsibility that comes with owning a weapon. You should know the responsibility you have as a young Black woman, as a woman in general, man or woman. You should know the power that you wield by your voice, by your walk, by how you deal with people, how you deal with ignorance, how you deal with trauma. Apparently, that is non-void. That is not even a factor. What you put on display is disgusting. Because what I seen the clip, I hear the story, and I think we got another one. We got another one here. Don't care where you grew up. Don't care about the upbringing. You add it on to the stereotype again. The woman tried to get away from you. She was done. She was 10 plus years your senior. You know how much wrong is here? Do you really understand how messy this painting is? You made me look bad. You made the viewers look bad. Whether or not people want to admit it, yes, you did. Because like when I go outside and I gotta go into the world and handle business, and I'm around certain groups of people, and they already know about the story, I come along. It's like, oh, here we go. I don't even move like that. Guilty by association. But whoever raised you didn't teach you that clearly. I'm gonna use the mic.
I know this particular incident wasn't politically motivated, it seems. It seems like just a random attack. But I was curious and looking into the statistics of crime in the United States. And one of the things that I found really interesting is even it is true technically that left-wing violence has increased over the last couple years, over the last decade. Actually, their numbers from 1996. But I do find it in a dark way kind of funny that it's increased from 1.6 incidents per year to 4 incidences per year of left-wing violence, whereas the average, like on the right, in 1995 there's 33 incidences, 1999 there was 26 incidences, 2017 there were 30, 2020 there were 30, 2023 there were 29. So it's still significantly outpaced by the left wing or right wing individuals. But I know there's this lie that is promoted that black on black crime biggest problem. And I definitely can see this being promoted as another example of why Black people are more dangerous than white people, even though 50% of violent crimes committed against white victims were perpetrated by white offenders. So there's still more white on white crime than there are Black on Black crime. And our lovely leader of this country has continuously tweeted things such as white people, 80% of white people killed in America are killed by Black people. So I think this is stuff like this also go to bolster their lies in terms of racial not segregation, what's the word? Profiling and stuff like that, making it seem like these communities are more dangerous than white communities, which is categorically false. It's like 50-50 and slightly less than 50-50 in terms of Black on Black crime, or Black on white crime, I should say. And it's not linked per se to color. It's linked to upbringing. It's linked to their exposure to violence and their exposure to weaponry, how that type of behavior is promoted in the household, the type of neighborhoods that they grow up in, whether they've been exposed to drugs, whether they have parents that have been incarcerated or family members that have been incarcerated. It's linked to places that do not have affordable housing. It's linked to places that do not have access to healthcare and mental health care. There's so many other links related to violence other than race. And unfortunately, part of the reason why it seems skewed in the direction of Black communities is because the Black communities have overwhelmingly been shut out of the system systematically for generations. It's only recently that they have evened out in terms of resource availability, but there's still a lot of subversive type what do you call it, like stuff that they do to still prevent people from being able to access certain resources. There's the stigma production, there's like redlining and all sorts of other methods to, while not making it obvious, still disallowing them to have the same resources that everyone should be entitled to. So I think this is also going to, it could potentially promote this lie that is passed around by individuals that are racist, and it's just simply not true. That this is not related to what color you are. This is linked to, as I said, your upbringing, your mental state, your experience with the law, and obviously people who already have run-ins with the law are going to be more likely to be violent. I haven't looked into her history yet, so I don't exactly know much about the woman who perpetrated this crime. But just given the location she was from, that is an area that has less resources than other parts of the United States. It is a lower income region. There's a higher wealth disparity, a racial wealth gap, and these types of events, as I said, are not linked to people. They're not linked to certain types of people. They're linked to certain types of mindsets. And I think we need to dispel that type of myth, because we are not doing those communities we're doing them a disservice by immediately like, oh, well, you're left wing, you're right wing, you're Black, you're white, so that's why you committed those crimes. it's not that. It's that you haven't had access to healthcare. You haven't had access to resources, so you're acting out of desperation. You haven't had proper mental health services, so you don't know how to handle your emotions. You might have drug problems or like a mental disability. And I think that's another thing besides gun management is healthcare management, making sure that we are more on top of people. Like social services should be more of a helping service rather than an incarceration service, which is something that they've been moving towards, in my opinion, in recent decades, where that school to prison pipeline idea, where we shuffle people towards prison instead of helping them out of the systems that are hurting them. I think I sent this to you the other day, but that the video of the police officer that was approached by the pregnant drug addict, and she was saying, "Hey, I need to get care. I really am done with this. I want to protect my baby. Can you help me?" Like, we need more of those types of people, not the types of people that, "Oh, you're a former drug addict? Let me attack you, jump on you, arrest you, even though you're pregnant. I'm going to put you in jail, take your baby." Like, we can't treat people like criminals or they're going to act like criminals. We have to start treating people like humans that are all deserving of concern, of care, of health treatment, of a better life. And we are very much moving more towards a direction of just criminalizing anybody that shows the slightest bit of differences. And we all know that statistically, if you end up in jail, the likelihood of you ending up back in jail in the future is extremely high. And it's people that have fallen through the gaps that are far more likely to be introduced into these systems and thus more likely to become perpetrators for life.
A generational curse. Sins of the father passed down from person to person. Nobody steps in, does what they need to do to correct their own issues. Stop it where they are so that it doesn't pass on to the next group. You know who you are. See, a part of it absolutely has to do with the lack of resources. For hell, there are tons of people who grew up without. And they still had morals and principles. They still knew how to love and be considerate. You still have respect for the elders. And even though Good Times was a television show, let me tell you, rest in peace to John Amos. He stood on his. As much as they tried to make him out to be something that he wasn't, the core values that was instilled in him showed on the show. That show, even though it had a script to it, it was probably as real as you could get. But people being in impoverished neighborhoods, and you still had a father who was not about to sit here and let you become that. You were raised here, but you're going to respect me, and you're going to respect the teacher, and you're going to do the homework, and you're going to go to school, and you're going to do something with your life. You are not about to become a statistic. He doesn't get enough respect. Him, Florida Evans. There are men and women that are just like them. They didn't have luxury. They didn't have finances. They didn't have the government on their side. Just like everything that you just described, majority of us suffer from it. But there are men and women like that who say, you know what, I don't care. We're going to still make a way. The world is against us, but guess what? God still got us, and we're gonna make it work. And they knew how important it was to ensure that their children had better than them. So while I agree, and I definitely see where you're coming from, I'm always going to go back to the parents, because y'all should have stopped it. It's your job to protect, provide, and teach as best as you know how. Meaning you have to exhaust every means to make this happen. Period. As corrupt and wicked as our government is, you came before me. You've seen it before any of us. So you already know what time it is. You got a head start. We hard-headed. Children don't want to listen. That's what's going to happen. But you already understand the assignment. Let's go back decades. Let's go back to the 1800s. Let's just go all the way back and do the timestamp. All of our predecessors had a piece of history that they tried to impart on the rest of us. Either we took it and ran with it, or we ignored it, or we didn't do anything with the information at all. And a lot of men and women have dropped the ball and didn't do anything with the information that was given to them. You let your experiences fall to the wayside. And now you have a bunch of people out here. They can't control their attitudes. They can't control their emotions. Everything has to be about violence. Guns, anger, death, hurt. The parents are lazy. You don't want to do your job. You don't want to do the screaming and the rebellious attitude. But you already know how ugly the world is. Why would you allow your loved ones to go out here unequipped? She's 22, her life over. Completely over. And it's just another check. Oh, we got another one. We got another there. Locking away with the rest. Traumatize a kid. Killing kids. Sins of the father. Sins of the mother. So not only do you not stop it and prevent it, the government and the powers to be, they capitalize off of it. And they capitalize off of it very well. You making their job easier. You're making their job easier. You're making Satan's job easier. I yield the mic.
I was looking at another set of statistics just for the population and the incarceration rates. And even though, yes, the percentage of white individuals is much higher, and so these percentage, so 30% of the population is other races or ethnicity, 13% are Black, and 58.9% are white. And so technically, the ratio is much higher in Black communities than it is in the other communities. However, the percentages still remain the same, similar. 26% of other races or ethnicities are incarcerated or have been incarcerated. 32% of the Black community has been incarcerated, and 31% of the white community has been incarcerated. But this, regardless of race, 75% of formerly incarcerated individuals remain unemployed for a year after being released. And not having a stable job will increase your chance that they'll return back to prison. This is called recidivism rate. The recidivism rate are high across all races, and Black prisoners have the second highest rate, so not even the first highest rate of recidivism rate, 74% over 5 years. And they estimate that a person who has been incarcerated, regardless of the time that they spent in prison, loses over $500,000 in earnings over their entire lifetime because of their inability to get a job, their inability to get high quality jobs, and as it says, like, they take a while to be able to get a job after being incarcerated. And as it says, a lot of this is due to structural support. Low income communities and neighborhoods have an increase in the likelihood of violence, which fuels that prison pipeline. While Black individuals are incarcerated at a rate 5 times more than white individuals, there's still an equal percentage of each in the jails. And as I said, it's linked to where people are from, and as you said, upbringing. Parents who are incarcerated are far more likely to have children who will end up incarcerated. They're also more likely to have other less severe offenses. And as I said, they're more likely to, there are racial disparities within the system as well. If you're Black or Latino, you're more likely to have your bail denied. You're more likely to have a higher bond set for you. And you're more likely to be detained because you cannot pay your bond. So it has a lot to do with not being able to afford high quality lawyers in locations that are poorer, lower income. It can be harder to find reputable lawyers. Usually the best lawyers are going to be the wealthy ones in cities. And even a lot of lawyers that, this is again my speculation, but higher paying lawyers are probably more likely to go into like financial type law or commercial law or industrial, like business type law rather than helping low income communities, because you're in it for the money. It's a very common reason. A lot of the time, the support for incarcerated individuals comes from organizations, volunteers that have their heart into it and are not in it for the money, but oftentimes they have far less resources than highly trained lawyers that have gone through Harvard and stuff like that. They, after you've been arrested, as I said, you're far more likely to be convicted again, to be criminalized. And the sad thing is, too, once you've been criminalized, you're in the system. And so the police will know you. The law system will know you. And there's that internal stereotype that, oh, I know that you've already gone to prison, so you're more likely to see the person and be like, oh, they probably did commit that crime, even if they didn't. Even my husband had an incident when he was 9 or 11, something like that, where he was hanging out with a group of people that were older. He was that age, and I think the people he was hanging out with were teenagers, like 13 or 14. And this was in Texas, or Massachusetts, New Hampshire, one of the two, but a very rich white neighborhood. And they were egging the house. And the other older boys threw the eggs at the house or the car, something like that. And my husband at the time, little, he just dropped his in the grass because he's like, I don't really want to be here. I don't want to be doing this. And so he just like dropped it in the grass. And the police officers still were harassing him, even though he was saying like, that's my egg. That's the one that I just threw. And it literally, the only reason he was able to get out of that situation was because his grandfather was the sheriff at the time. And so he was able to explain to his grandfather, like, yeah, it wasn't me. I didn't do that. The egg's right there. And so he was able to get out. But still, he was 9, and just because of his association, just because of his skin color, the other kids were white, I believe. They automatically assumed that he did that. And if you have a record already, that's significantly more likely because, again, you're going to be in the system, they're going to know you, and so they're just going to assume, oh, well, they're a criminal. You're a criminal once, so you're a criminal forever. And this type of stigma will stick with you for life. And it's not just going to be the police officers, but partners that you get in a relationship with. You're more likely to get divorced if you've already been incarcerated. Obviously, that could be for other reasons, but it's still a statistic. You're also more likely to be exposed to violence yourself, more likely to be murdered. You're also more likely to be rejected for housing. You're more likely to become homeless. You're more likely, as I said, to become incarcerated another time. And a lot of people, because of the stress they experience once they get out of prison, especially if they've been in prison for multiple years or over a decade. Some people reoffend to go back in because that structure they found was good for them, and they can't handle being out in the real world and dealing with all of these people that are treating them like that. They don't have access to these resources, and so it's not like a high rate, but it is fairly. It happens fairly frequently that people feel the need to go back to where there's structure. And that's really tragic. That's incredibly sad that people feel the need to go back to prison just to get the security and the care that they need. It's, again, another supporting point to why we need to have much, much better services for people. We need to have services for people after they get out of prison and not just open the door and, okay, good luck, have fun. Like, they should have them. I mean, sometimes they do, but we should have people working with social workers years after they get out. We should have programs we do have programs, but not very many, to help employ individuals who are incarcerated. We should have systems to help them find housing when they're incarcerated. Most individuals are far more likely to commit crimes. Low-income individuals are far more likely to commit crimes because they're desperate. They're more likely to steal. They're more likely to turn to drugs. They're more likely to hurt other people in order to get things that they need. And all of this can be, obviously, we're never going to fully stop violence. People will always act out and be crazy. But we need to have these checks and balances so individuals that need that help, that are willing to do the work to get better, are able to. Because right now, even people who want to get better, who want to be better people, are immediately criminalized and are forced out of the system and are not given the opportunity to pull themselves back up. And so among the policies that we really should have preventing people from getting access to deadly weapons on a regular basis, we really, really need to have a better system for people that are committing these crimes, but are, I mean, not the particular type of crime, but like who are ending up in the system and who want to actually better themselves. Because even people that want to better themselves are put into situations where they, I mean, obviously they're still making the decision, they're still liable for their own choices, but they're almost forced into these decisions because of the way that they're treated and the resources that they're being denied.
I'm more concerned about people who've never been to jail. I'm more concerned about why you have this attitude. Why are you so triggered? Like, I'm still trying to comprehend how does an argument spark from, oh man, I already see it. You're not gonna say thank you. You just gonna walk in and I help vote for you. You just ain't. I want to know, how do you go that far with your anger? In general, when men have these conversations about black women, and we say, like, I just did a stream yesterday. My brother, he's definitely young. He basically said, look, all of my experiences with black women, they weren't pleasant. Matter of fact, I'm attracted to a few, but I don't really like them. They're rude. They're bitter. That was just his perspective, and I'm sitting here like, well, shit, you're not the first person to say it. There's plenty of folks out here that say it all the time. Y'all got some funky ass attitudes, and look, it's not just black women, black men too. Y'all really be overdoing it. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's in the water, in the cigarettes. I don't know what the hell is going on. Like, why do you feel that you're entitled to somebody just saying thank you to you? I've opened the door for people that they never said thank you to me. I did get my panties in a bunch. There have been times where I might not have said thank you. It happens. You're getting into conversations with folks. I can tell the difference from somebody getting in a passionate back and forth with a person and your voice elevates versus someone who is purposely trying to turn this into something violent. This, with what happened with her and this woman, that's been going on for decades. that anger, that key identifier, that's been around way longer than this. That's what I want to talk about. That's what I want answers to. Because she's not the first. She's 22. This shit has been going on for years. And people have been saying this for years. That attitude. Why the hell do you think hundreds and thousands of people are saying the same shit if there's no validity to it? Y'all be going to jail, getting put in the ground because of your attitude. You don't know how to just walk away because you think it's corny to walk away. You think it makes you soft or weak. Too worried about the world judging you for not wanting to deal with conflict. I want to know why y'all won't address that. Don't tell me about the patriarchy. Don't tell me you were oppressed. I don't want to hear that. Because when she was confronting that woman, what the hell did anything to do with 50 years ago got to do with that? There was no men right there suppressing her. Wasn't no men there trying to tell her what to do. I want to know what your problem is. And you're doing it to yourself. It's this. Why? Why is it constantly this? Words don't work no more. Now just be throwing your life away. It's just disposable. Shit is crazy, man. It's absolutely disgusting. I'm getting sick and tired of people defending this shit, enabling the behavior. If you don't like something, walk away. If you know you can't control your attitude, walk away. If you know you have a problem, get help for it. Talk to somebody. I'm tired of the excuses. I'm tired of the pick and choosing when you want to be offended and when you don't want to be offended. I'm tired of you having all of this energy for other races, but you are your own enemy in your own culture. We know what the problem is. Satan is doing his job. He's using us. He's using them. And he's getting it done. Every day, all day, is working. You don't like the fact that they didn't say thank you to you. You put 3 bullets in this woman in front of her child. Her child got to grow up without her mom. What did the kid have to do with that? It's a wicked world we live in, I'm telling you. Anything you want to add while we here? I mean, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I'm really over the ignorant shit.
I have a poem that I want to read. I just have to find it first.
Go ahead. ladies and gentlemen, like when I do these type of videos, I do them because I want folks to understand that everybody don't move the way that the rest of the population moves. You can talk, you can communicate, you can agree, disagree, and it don't turn into somebody standing over a grave, tossing dirt and flowers over the casket. You can be uncensored and still have cordial back and forth, exchanging words. You can walk away from conflict. You do not have to put your hands on another person to get your point across. You can work together. We all have common enemies, all of us. And it really ain't us. The people that are really the enemies are the ones that are getting the job done. So while we sitting up here calling each other the N-word, acting like that's not a negative phrase, and while we sitting up here fighting over property that ain't ours and et cetera, they getting richer and they're living longer. Make sense.
Okay. I found this one. I wrote this poem to basically talk about how we kind of cause our own demise, how things become a vicious cycle. I thought this was appropriate for this story, given our talks about how it really starts and ends with what you're exposed to. If you don't take care of your kids the right way, they'll grow into adults that don't treat their own kids the right way or don't treat people around them the right way. So it's our responsibility to stop the cycle where it's at. So this is called Dogged Action. A dog chasing its tail, mind wrapped around an idea, a reverie, a repetition of life, of seeking pleasure, a glorious capture, a stunning feat. A dog chasing its tail, wound up, coiled springs of promise, of tenacity, of tortured spinning, for a grasp at a connection. A dog chasing its tail, breaks its own nails, makes mistakes and fails, running the same circuits, assured of its fate, a nip, a bite, a snip, a regressive slip. A dog chasing its tail knows the fringe, knows the feeling, but it continues its spiral for fun, for its sake. At the end, a bark to punctuate the vicious cycle.
A vicious cycle and a horrible ass trend.
My heart goes out to that family, the nurses that tried to save her life. And I hope this inspires people really to change their lives if they feel like they're on that trajectory, because for anybody out there that has had this type of life, who's been exposed to this type of violence, who was raised in a way that their parents were incarcerated, or they feel like they're on track to be taken advantage of by the system, know that you are capable of change. There are resources out there. While it is very, very hard to get by in a system like this, especially with where it's going right now, the trajectory we're on, do know that you have the capacity for change, and it's worth it. It's worth living your life. And I know a lot of people might feel like their lives are worthless, that there's nothing to live for, but I promise there is stuff to live for, and it's very much worth the effort to make yourself a better person. I know it's hard, especially when people around you have that stigma and they don't want to support you. But I urge you to find that help where you can get it and try and aim for a better life, because we don't want to keep up the vicious cycle and keep taking lives of people that don't deserve it just because we can't control the emotions inside us. So I hope this inspires somebody to make their lives better, make their kids' lives better. And again, blessings to those families. My heart goes out to them.
Likewise. Thank you for the poem, and shout outs to everybody who pulled up. We got to do our part. One soul at a time. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. I'll be back tomorrow morning, same time, same place.
Are we doing the poetry thing tomorrow, or?
Man, I've been trying to get some stuff going. It's just, yeah.
That's okay.
I'll let you know, though. I'll let you know. Right now, I don't see it. I was trying to actually do it today, but it didn't fall through. So.
Okay. That's okay.
I'll
see you Monday if I don't see you tomorrow.
Right on. Enjoy the rest of your night.
You as well.
Blessings to everybody. See y'all tomorrow. Be easy. And do this out before you go.
Have a good night, guys. Praying for you guys.
If I'm a one-hit wonder, at least I got one, huh? At least I got something, really ain't me. The beat bumping, one song could change lives. Let's see something, one joke could save lives. We gon' keep coming, keep functioning, something out of nothing. Ball-wise, I'm top 300, get your favorite artist. I'll chop it up with mutton if they haters. Your ghost could be bludgeon if they for real. We getting money, so check BS minus Negroes, button everything authentic. Stupid shit I did it, punishing myself like my mom prison. No questions, no tea, not lifted. One time for team.